Today I'm going to talk about deliberate practice, or in other words, how to get good fast. Hi, Tait here and welcome back to another video. So what is deliberate practice? Basically, it's practicing with immense focus, with measurable goals, with lots of feedback. But I'll get back into that soon. In the visuals for this video, you can see I'm practicing hands, attempting deliberate practice myself. I still have a long way to go, but I feel like I've learned so much already. Anyway, back to what started this all. I was listening to the book Grit by Angela Duckworth on Audible, and she mentioned Malcolm Gladwell's theory that it takes 10,000 hours in 10 years to reach expertise in a field. So that led me to research, which very quickly showed me that Gladwell's theory was inaccurate and disproven, which led to deliberate practice. I had heard of this concept before, but I had forgotten about it until now. What most of us probably do instead of deliberate practice is naive practice. Naive practice is just going through the motions. We tend to think just doing the activity over and over, so in our case drawing, that we will improve. Which yes, we will a little bit, but it will hit a plateau where we feel like we've reached acceptable performance unless we were pushing ourselves. But as artists, I believe we feel like we never reach acceptable performance anyway. Anders Ericsson, a Swedish psychologist, says, "People often misunderstand this because they assume that the continued driving or tennis playing or pie baking is a form of practice and that if they keep doing it, they are bound to get better at it. Slowly perhaps, but better nonetheless. But no. Research has shown that, generally speaking, once a person reaches that level of acceptable performance and automaticity, the additional years of practice don't lead to improvement." I'll repeat that again. The additional years of practice don't lead to improvement. Practice being in quotation marks. Anyway, I personally believe that all artists are striving to improve while we draw though. So we're not just falling into naive practice, but probably more so purposeful practice, which is still going to get us results, but deliberate practice will get them faster. So now, let's move on to what you need to do to improve fast, to deliberately practice. What are your weaknesses when it comes to art? I'm sure a lot of us here will say hands. Or feet, or colour, or anatomy. There's so many different things in art. Identify them. These are what you will need to work on the most. For me, I'd say my weakness is just overall anatomy. Our weaknesses should be out of our comfort zone. If we stay in our comfort zone, we really won't improve much. Next thing to do after identifying our weaknesses is set a specific goal. It needs to be a goal that's a little out of reach, a goal that is measurable. I'm going to stick with hands as an example. So we want to be able to draw hands. Ways we can measure that would be comparing to photos, comparing to our first drawings, redrawing things to see our improvement. A goal could be learning all the visible bones and muscles in a hand and drawing them accurately without reference, which it is important for artists to know these things. Proko is a very useful YouTuber when it comes to learning anatomy for artists, and he has talked about deliberate practice himself. I'll link that in the description. You may have many goals for your art, as I do myself, but it's better to concentrate on one thing before moving on to another. Ultimately, they'll all work together and improve everything overall. So now we have our goal. Our next step is to practice with intense focus. You can't be distracted while doing deliberate practice, so it might be a smart idea to put your phone on silent and move it away. You want to give your practice your undivided attention to get the full benefits from deliberate practice. Find ways that keep your mind awake so it doesn't just slip into naive practice. For example, just copying pictures isn't going to get you very far. You could find a picture of a hand and try drawing it from a different angle. That way you have to constantly be thinking and be focused. An assignment Proko likes to give at the end of its videos are looking at a photo and drawing the bones and muscles that are underneath. Do change up what you're doing in your deliberate practice to keep the mind fresh, so that you don't just fall into repeating the motions and it turning into naive practice. The next step is getting feedback. Finding someone that has more knowledge than you and telling you what you did wrong, so that you can go and focus on that till you get it right. You can often see your mistakes and self-critique as well, which is important. As artists, we need to learn to see. If you can get a mentor, that can help massively too. Even after practice sessions, reflect on what you did good or where you know you slipped focus. It can be tedious, but stick at it. If you repeat all these over and over, you will improve faster. It will still take time, but not 10,000 hours in 10 years. It is still recommended to deliberately practice daily though. Remember, don't beat yourself up for not getting the desired effect straight away. You do need to figure out how much time you can put into your art without getting burnt out too. Look after your relationship with your art. For ways to improve your productivity and your relationship with your art, I definitely recommend checking out Katie Arrington on YouTube. She does life coaching, but she is an artist too, so a lot of things are really specific to art. I'll link her in the description. Do some more research on deliberate practice yourselves. I found it really interesting to research myself. I hope you found the information in this video useful. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos every week, and go check out these videos.